I'll call to order. I think it's 5 o'clock. It's a little bit past. I see Megan. What are you reading?
Starting. Okay. I am reading Playground by Richard Powers, which, if you've ever read the Overstory, is sort of like the ocean, like it does for the ocean what the Overstory did for trees. And I just want to acknowledge that I'm somewhat involved in the Western Alaska response, and so I will be monitoring my text messages. So just
Thank you for doing that. I just read the story in the paper. What yeah. Thank you. Olivia, you're here. I can see with your friend. What have you been reading?
I am a student again, so I've been reading everything I need to read for school. I am rereading Britney Spears' memoir. Well, rereading as like an audiobook just for fun listening at work. So it's not fun, but I thought it would be. So
I was going to ask what class required that for reading, but yes.
Life skills.
Life skills. Jen.
Yeah, so I am reading TJ Klune, The Bones Beneath My Skin. So a third of the way through. So yeah, it's good.
Interesting. Mark?
So one of my coworkers is retiring, and he gifted me the original Godzilla where he destroys the Trans-Alaska Pipeline. So, yeah, I guess I'm not very serious this time. I'm reading Rachel's graphic, his nothing very heavy.
Rachel can be pretty heavy.
Well, the coolest thing I ever saw, I happened to go into the Science Museum in St. Paul years ago. I was just wandering around, and Rachel had a true scientific exhibit on ancient fish species. And it was amazing. I was like, wow, who knew? I mean, this is actual science.
I know his brother though. Wait.
I'm reading The King of Kings, which is about the Shah of Iran and the Iranian Revolution. And it's very good.
Good.
That does sound good.
We don't have Rachel online? No. Heard from her? Okay. I am here and I'm reading Bruno, Chief of Police. Has anybody else read the Bruno series?
No.
Translated from the French. Altogether, apparently, if you read Bruno, Chief of Police, this is the first in about an 18 volume. Several of my friends have read their way all the way through it. They're absolutely delightful. It's the police stories in a tiny village in France, and Bruno is mostly noted for his cooking wonderful meals. And apparently his wife wrote a prize-winning cookbook in France. So anyway, easy, light, happy reading for me this week. That's where I'm going. Would you like to just tell us your fondly welcome visitor? Tell us.
Yes. Hi, my name is Stephanie Schott. I'm the branch manager at the Chugiak Eagle River Library. Do I need to tell you what I'm reading right now?
Absolutely.
Okay. I just started When a Sorceress Calls. It's a retelling of The Goose Girl by the Grimm brothers, and it's by T. Kingfisher. So it's a speculative fiction. I'm also reading a romance called Bombshell because, I buy all our romance books. So it's work. Work related. It is completely work related. Yes.
I'm Misty Rose Nesvik. I'm the communications coordinator for all of Anchorage Public Library. And I had to double check my story graph because I've got like 4 that I'm reading currently, but right now it's Automatic Noodle about, it's a sci-fi book, post-future, where the North American countries are Canada, the US, California, and Mexico. And in California, some robots have come together to open a hand-pulled noodle shop. And I love me some Bang Bang Noodle. And
Yes.
it's
Let's say who you are.
Hello, I'm Keelan. I'm the teen services librarian here at LUSAC, but I kind of help out whenever there's teens across the library world. I'm reading Before We Disappear, which is a teen book about a magician who prides himself on always figuring out how every illusion works, meets another magician who does real magic, and they have a rivalry, very the kid-friendly version of The Prestige. If you remember that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Friendly version of The Prestige.
That's what it's like.
Okay, all right, we are called to order. I do want to acknowledge that we are meeting gratefully on the traditional lands of the Upper Cook Inlet Tadina people. And we have an agenda which people possibly have had a chance to look at. And if somebody likes it, they can move to accept the agenda, and then
I'm second the agenda.
Wade seconds. Who first? Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Wade. You have the minutes from last month.
We move to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Megan. Second.
I'll second.
Thanks, Jen. Okay. Okay, well, swiftly, we have reached your portion of the agenda, Stephanie.
Oh, wonderful. Mission moment. I was really happy to sign up for this month. I have been at Tugiak Eagle River for about a year now, and I am in charge of doing adult programming. And one of the programs that I have attended and libraries around the country have also been doing is called Loteria. Has anybody ever heard of Loteria?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. So you know how much fun it is. And what is wonderful about this game is that it is intergenerational. There are people who have grown up playing it and want to play it with their kids. What is also wonderful is that in our community, we have a Spanish immersion program K through 12. So we have a built-in Spanish speaking population. For a very small part of Anchorage, we have an astounding number of Mexican restaurants. So there is a built-in niche for this. One of my staff members grew up going through that whole entire program. She graduated from it. Her mother is from Mexico. And she was able to contact her kindergarten teacher who came in and did the presentation with us. So we played the game. We bought very, very kid-friendly versions of the game because if you've ever played Loteria, the adult version is a little... Yeah, a little bit. Mermaid, you know, and her boobs are covered, which is great. So we played all ages. We played it in English and in Spanish, and all of our flyers were in English and Spanish as well. We posted it at ASD. And so we're still trying to build up our programming, especially for not just young children, like story time. Our story time following is huge. We usually get 70 or 75 people to every single story time, but we're still trying to build up our school age children and our adults. And so this was a really good targeting kind of a program. It was really, really fun. We did it on a Saturday and we had 17 people come. We had Spanish speaking families, but we also had families who didn't speak any Spanish who came to play because there are regulars and they wanted to see what this was. And everyone had a fantastic time. We also, because we had the kindergarten teacher, Tish doing it, she invited in some of her colleagues from the Spanish immersion program. And what they now want to do is they want to hold an event, a Loteria event at their school. So we're going to work together with them. We bought enough of the sets so that we can play with 40 different people. So we can actually now extend it into their community. Beforehand, they were doing bingo, but they wanted to do something that was a lot more culturally specific and appropriate for their audience. So it's kind of become just a really wonderful thing, and they want us to come to the school more often. So we've been invited to their STEM night. So it's just really fostered some really great relationships with the Spanish immersion program that, again, is really part and parcel of our town.
Which elementary school has Spanish immersion?
It's Tugiak.
It is.
And then it goes into Eagle River High School. Yeah. And like I said, it was really great because we had Esmeralda, who is our employee, her mom came. So we had a mom, and then we had all the way down to a 3-year-old playing. So again, it was just a lovely all ages program. It was wonderful. Everyone was asking when we were going to do it again. And we had the really fantastic like candies. Like this is a traditional candy that looks like the Mexican flag. It is coconut. So we had like very culturally appropriate candies as well. And the teacher we did it with has been talking to us about other Spanish language programs we can bring in. So we might be doing things for El Dia, De los Muertos. So we might be doing more. And she challenged me. She's like, what other cultural events are you going to bring to the library? So I was like, I don't know. I mean, I'm Irish. Let's see if we can get some Irish stuff going. So it's been a really great conversation about like, who are we not maybe serving? And we also at that event had out our Spanish language picture books and things like that. So people understood that we also have other ways to serve this population. So all in all, it was just a really positive thing that continues to pay itself forward and has helped build a real relationship.
What brought it to mind? What caused you to do?
Well, I have played Loteria as an adult, and it was super fun. And again, it was all ages, and it was just something that was really fun. I've seen other libraries do it. And actually, before I did this, I was not really sure how to do it in a library setting because that's not how I originally did it. And I called a librarian in Los Angeles, Alejandro, and he told me how to do it. And he told me to call him back. And he's like, I want to hear how it goes in Eagle River. So it was really good for professional development to also just do that part myself, but to bring in Esmeralda, who is a newer library employee, to really this is her superpower. She was able to speak Spanish during the event. She helped out. She translated all of the flyers for me. She made that contact. So it's really professional development for her as well, because she's also interested in being a librarian potentially someday.
Right.
So there's so many different ways this has been really positive. And I want to do more of it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Where are the Anchorage Spanish immersion programs? There must be an elementary school. I mean, in the.
Government Hills, yeah, the only, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So it could potentially be something.
Yeah, and now that we have the sets, we can send them to any of the other libraries. So yeah, it's good to go. If you want to do it, it's super fun.
Maybe I was gonna ask you after this.
People be about, then you get to get their prize. It's fun. It's really, really fun. So yeah.
So is this a Mexican game or is it?
It is, yeah. Yep. It's traditionally called it's traditionally called Loteria, but it's actually, people always talk about it being Mexican picture bingo. So I can just show you the cards. You just call out, you have a deck and you call out the card, even though there are numbers on them, you just call out the card and you play. Traditionally, you play with pinto beans. So you just mark it off with pinto beans, which is exactly how we played it. And we let the kids decide whether we were going up and down, across, diagonal. And again, and there were kids who were guessing things because she would describe what she was seeing before she told them what it was. And the kids would guess in Spanish and in English what they thought she was talking about, which is really great. So yeah, it was really, really fun.
Anybody else want to play?
I do. Yeah, I want to play all the time now. You live in my office and I'm always like, oh, yes.
So Government Hill is possibility.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Are there any other Spanish immersion programs in the elementary schools other than Chugac and government?
I think so.
No, it's one per language in the Anchorage School District. So there's Spanish, French, Russian, German, Japanese, and each one is, and there was Chinese for a minute, but it's just one school. It's per language.
Great.
Like
There are
Government.
other,
Yeah.
Government Hill feeds up to West High, right?
correct. So West houses Russian and Spanish. Yeah.
Cool.
We do. I remember when I was grant writing, talking about the 92 languages spoken in the Anchorage School District. It's probably gone up.
Oh,
at
definitely.
this
Yeah.
point, so.
Yeah. So it's nice to support that as well, especially because the Spanish immersion program is one of the things they discussed cutting during all of the talks. Yeah. Yeah. And it has a very large impact in our community. So it was nice to be able to support that.
Well, thank you very much. Keelan, you are going to tell us about electronic resource. points of
I've already
use.
done seats here. So one of the many things I do is I visit schools, middle schools and high schools, and talk about how to do internet research. else. And so one of the big databases in 9th and 10th grade, for ASD at least, one of the expectations is that these kids are learning how to become argumentative writers, like form an opinion. Can they defend their opinion? Can they see the other side? And for a lot of kids, they are coming from families that are like, we have the one opinion. That is the only opinion you will hear, whether that be one side or the other. And so they don't know how to craft arguments because they just don't understand it's a back and forth. And so I love to tell them about points of view. It is a database that literally just explains an issue, explains a point for the issue, a point against the issue, and then links to other articles. And so this is what it looks like. It's most of our databases are housed through the same Explorer, so they are kind of built the same. But when you log into points of view, it has like, what's the hot topic issues? AI is what they have decided is the hot topic issue. And you can jump immediately into looking at it. Concussions and pro sports, these are all, so you can scroll through, but if you keep going down, there are many categories too that you can look through, so you can keep looking through. And it covers pretty much any kind of argument you could think of. It also has the National High School Debate is a competition. It's kind of like the spelling bee, but for debate. Whatever the topics are for this year, they pull them into its own special section. But let's look at energy. Why not? And then again, it breaks down even further. What specifically do we want to talk about today? So we could talk about, I don't know, nuclear power.
It's against carpooling.
So they always have an overview. The overview is just a bare bones. What even are we talking about? Because some of these issues are really big. Kids don't necessarily have like the context to understand, like the war in Palestine right now. They have been alive for 14 years. There's been a lot more than 14 years of history they need to catch up on really quick to understand what's the problem.
What's the age range this is aimed at?
This is aimed, I mostly give it to high school and adults, but middle school kids, there are some topics that middle school kids would encounter. So here's the overview. And you just read it like it's a regular article. And you can do all kinds of stuff with this. You can email this to yourself. It has an audio option. So if you need someone to like listen along with you, it'll play. And it's really nice. Usually these overviews are 5 or 6 pages. And then they always, at the end, have their sources. Which I always tell kids is if you are starting a research project, use the resources that somebody else has already used and branch out from there. So I always like to point out the bibliography.
How up to date is it? Do they manage like current events and
Oh yeah, I check in every, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, and there's usually something new popping up.
Okay, so if there's like some big national or international event, you could potentially find it in here, and
correct, yeah.
That's pretty cool then.
Yeah. And so this article has a point saying nuclear power plants are clean and we love them. And then there's the against point, which is it's not worth the risk. And then some articles, not all of them, but the majority of them have a critical analysis, which is like the overview, but then an even further, like, okay, now you understand what's going on. Let's really dive into it. Some articles actually have more than one point and counterpoint. So it's very interesting. Term limits is one that has 2 counterpoints coming at it from different sides. Like one is elderly folks may not be capable of like rational decision making, but then another point is that the term limits encourage new people to have diversity of opinion. So they're both against the thing, but from 2 different sides. And so yeah, this is always a really great research. You don't even have to just pick from their options. Like, there's a search bar up here, so you could type in whatever kind of topic you're looking for. and it would give you all kinds of really great stuff. Since it is connected through Explora, any of the EBSCO databases, so like the Science Reference Center automatically pulls into here. The History Reference Center automatically pulls into here. So you don't even need to jump around. You can just start typing in through here and it'll pull relevant articles based on whatever keywords you've searched up for. Yeah, this is like hands down the best database that we have, in my opinion, at least.
Other than the comics one.
Like this one, I talk about this one pretty much every chance. Any teacher's like, oh, can you help us? We just want to do a simple research. And I'm like, go to points of view.
Doesn't even matter the topic. It seems like, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a, sorry.
No, please.
So after the student reads the introduction and then several points of view, are there questions? Is it?
There's not questions for them, but the thing I've noticed is kids like don't even know where to start if they don't know what the topic is in the first place. And so once they get through the overview and the point for or against, now they are able to make their own questions. Because otherwise they were just like, I don't know, what is reading literacy? There's no concept for it.
So it sets up a class discussion.
Exactly.
And people can be assigned sides or they choose to.
Depends on the teacher. Some will assign kids a topic and say you're either like arguing for or against, or some will say you can pick your own topic and then decide if you're going to be for or against. So each teacher's a little bit different.
Does the Anchorage School District encourage debate? And it seems like that should be almost mandatory.
I don't know if every school has a debate team, but there's at least 3 of them that do.
Okay.
West, South, and Service have debate teams for sure.
Yeah, I just mean as part of the curriculum in a regular language arts class, it seems like that's a fundamental skill. That
Yeah, in
is
9th
super
and
important.
10th grade, the expectation is that they can write at least an argumentative paper. They don't necessarily have to like verbally debate it. They just have to be able to write a paper that articulates some point.
When I was in high school, we would have classroom discussions and take different points of view, but the debate team was a separate thing.
Yeah.
Right.
I was in after dinner speaking, which was humorous. I had no interest in the debate team because they debated the same thing all season. And, yeah, I thought it sounded boring. But
I was wondering about the curriculum standards in the menu
Yes.
side. If that was more educator based or
This is more for the
speaking
teachers.
to like.
Yeah, this is more for the teachers.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So you can
Hold you though.
standards for
It's good to know
arts.
how they keep it.
This does tend to be,
2012.
yeah, it does tend to be pretty out of date,
Okay.
but at least it gives you,
Oh, interesting.
so like for 9th and 10th graders for social studies, they should be able to know the key ideas and details and all of this stuff.
Okay.
This is more for the teachers
For
to
sure. Cool.
kind
though.
of point to specific stuff. I mean,
So that part's not up to date, but everything else is just more
Yeah.
important. Cool. That's really
Yeah.
cool though.
this is, yeah. Any other questions?
Interesting. So is this solely available or used by classroom teachers, or is it available to
It's available to
discussion
anyone.
groups? or-
Yeah, available to anyone. Mostly since I'm in the school so often, I pretty much only talk about it to schools.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely. If you guys want to host your own debate club, I love it.
I feel like I do already.
There's been a few times where I've been watching the news and like the news presenter will say something and I'm just like, what? Why is this even an issue? And then I'd look up myself. And then I realized, oh, actually, there was all of this stuff I didn't know about. So I have used it for myself sometimes.
I mean, it seems eminently useful to
Yeah.
examine or to assert the fact that there are many points of view, and it's good to talk about that from many points of view. And
Yeah.
something that is a society we're not that good at. So I really appreciate that
Yeah,
this is working.
And I appreciate that it's very like matter of factual. Like it doesn't ever say, oh, this is a Republican opinion or this is a Democrat opinion. It's just like, here's the facts. This happened this time, or nuclear power is this thing. It's just like, here it is. Here is the info. And then you can take that from there however you want to, but the way it presents it is just across the board, just here's the info.
Comments? Did you have more?
I don't have anything else. That was it.
Okay.
Unless you guys have more questions.
I'm looking around. Marjorie has gifted us with so many wonderful presentations about things going on in the library system that I never knew about.
Yeah,
This is
I learn
just
something all the time. So I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
When you said this will be on the agenda, I wrote it in the agenda, thought, I have no idea. Cool. Misty Rose, I think you are
Am I
going to
up?
talk to us.
I'm gonna actually, Keelan, are you gonna bow?
I was about to bounce out.
I'm
I'm
gonna-
gonna skip with the chair away.
I'm actually gonna steal your chair. Apologies to Olivia. I feel weird making everybody lean.
I
So
know.
I'm gonna actually pivot over to this side.
Oh, thank
And
you.
Margie, I don't know if Keelan had her screen share. Do you want to copy paste the link to the Explorer into the chat so Olivia can go poke at it if she wants to?
Oh, sure.
Said go versus mom saying go, so we'll actually stick.
Yeah, blame it on me.
Okie dokie. So I am here to share the high-level view of our library strategic plan, which I think may have either come late to you or not. So there are copies up here at the table if you didn't already grab one. I believe Margie has shared kind of the last year or so that we have been in our new strategic planning process. So our previous strategic plan technically expired in 2021, give or take, and then due to circumstances, we kind of kept extending. So this has been the most recent strategic plan that we have had in the last 8 years or so, since the previous one was there. The goal of this one has been a little bit different. The previous one was a lot of extensive community outward looking, and given the recent events of administration and internal changes and the environment that we are existing in, it was really important to us to shore up our foundation. So you will notice that the majority of it feels very internal facing, and that is by design, because as we noted in our overview, without a strong foundation, we just would not be able to adequately provide the services. You know, if you look at your home, if your foundation is cracked and your roof is leaking, is your priority really going to be redecorating in new paint and adding in new furniture? As much as you would love to and need new furniture, you're going to shore up that cracked foundation. You're going to make sure that your roof is solid. And so those are the pieces that we really tried to emphasize. We asked for a committee made up of all levels of staff. And for us, all levels means both position as well as departments. So not just administration, not just the leadership team. Every department was given an opportunity to put forward a delegate. And those delegates worked over that, roughly 6-8 months or so with a facilitator to put together the plan. So we said, all staff put in information, delegates distilled the information, and that's where we got to what you see kind of in front of you, which is these 6 big areas of emphasis. So obviously, these are not specifically in order of importance, but I'm going to highlight the most important one was staffing. We have for a very long time been struggling with minimum staffing levels. We are very happy that we have gotten back to, I believe, all positions that are currently available currently have bodies in them, except for 2 for Muldoon, but they are in progress, which is really, really
Wow.
great. So our community resource group is fully staffed. Our administrative team is fully
Amazing.
staffed. So we are back to regular turnover. So what we really wanted to make sure when we're looking at staffing is not just bodies in those positions, but making sure that staff feel supported and empowered. You know, a lot of things that filtered up through the feedback was that staff just was kind of a little wobbly, and that they really wanted to know that as a system we were being supported, and then externally through to the administration and to our community. So we really want to make sure over the next 3 years that we're continuing to invest in making sure staff have the resources to do their job so that we can provide excellent community service. Safety and wellness was something that filtered up also through staff. It's no secret that there are just a lot of hard things to manage in the world, and those manifest in public places, whether that is in day-to-day interactions over a desk or things. I don't know if everybody saw the rave alert that there was a massive police presence just up the block, and staff driving to work are seeing what is happening just up the block, or a massive accident on the way out to Eagle River, things like that. There's a lot of that in the world. And so we really wanted to pull out safety and wellness as two different things. There is being safe, and then there's also just your wellness, your mental wellness, your physical wellness, making sure that we are making the most of the municipal resources that we have for staff, but also how can we really look at all the different things we're doing. So if we're looking at programming decisions, at staffing decisions, at building layout decisions, coming from a place of safety and wellness as a priority. The one we all learned the most about was operations and change management. It kind of became a bucket. We didn't know that that was what it was called. We just knew that we heard from people that when a change happened, it didn't roll out as smoothly as we wanted to. And it was more than just communication mechanisms. Maybe it was timing and thinking that this massive project involved two groups. Group A had downtime over here, and Group B had downtime completely off from that. Well, we just went ahead and went with Group A's downtime for whatever reason. And then the Group B felt like, well, why were we making this massive change when it impacted our workflow and nobody asked us, nobody considered us? So that apparently is something called change management. And so we are learning that there are whole systems in place. And we are very lucky we have a staff member who's been skilled in that. So we are hoping to improve that when we do need to make changes, we are equipped not just to respond, but that we are actively proactive when we put those changes through. Communication, it wouldn't be a strategic plan if it didn't have communication on it. I believe our facilitator said not one organization that she has worked with does not have that on there. So it was, if we can get the magic formula to solve it, we will have all the financial stability in the world because we will sell it to everybody. So communication is really what you would think it is. It's both our between each other individually, between departments. So we have a work group that's going to be trying to improve that. And communication looks different now. Our original plan was pre-COVID. Now, post-COVID, we've got different work situations with work from home. Just our general workflows have adapted and changed. So we're going to be looking at communication as a bucket. I'm going to skip over this middle one and go down to leadership and team culture. You'll know that in a minute. Leadership and team culture, again, this is also something very common in organizations. We have roughly 90 or so humans that work here, and generally they're going to look to the top for where solutions are, but also where potentially all the problems are. And it's going to often be, well, they are doing this and they have made this decision. And so we're really trying to work towards that culture of we are doing this. You'll notice the theme of in 3 years, we will. It's not going to be an overnight. We know that in 3 years, maybe some things we can fix this month, some things it will take 2 years to fix, that we will have trust across all of the levels and that folks feel that they have a voice and they have an opportunity to participate in the organization. And that it's not just being led from above, that we are being led all together. And I'm going to circle back to our last piece because that leads into the next section in the document. We do have a community external force. While this is very internal, we acknowledge we are here to serve the public. So no strategic plan would exist if we didn't address that. So we, as a strategic plan group, had kind of identified non-users. And I think through feedback from Lab, you guys also helped us narrow that focus. When we said, who do we want to reach out to? And we're like, everybody. And we're like, no, I can't talk to everybody. So we were like, okay, well, we hear from users a lot, and we have lots of mechanisms to hear from users continually, but non-users was important. So we engaged with Hayes Research Group. Unfortunately, when we phrased things, we said use the library, and to us that meant library. Right. To them, it meant building.
Wow.
And so we did get some kind of muddy data from people when I love Libby. I never go to the library or use the library, but I use Libby every day. And we went, oh, that is using your library. That is Anchorage Public Library providing Libby, providing Hoopla. So we had a little bit smaller data set than we were hoping, but shifting over to that piece, we did get 700 responses through both library means. We have a way to filter out folks who have not used their cards for anything. So for sure hadn't used Libby, hadn't used Hoopla, just had become lapsed card users. So we were able to email those folks. And then Hayes had some proprietary lists that they could also reach out to. It was interesting in that for the most part, we didn't hear anything that we didn't think anecdotally. We had already heard safety and security, obviously the number one thing. You'll see that theme for staff, right? That was echoed for our community members. And those are things that we have heard, that folks coming into buildings felt that there were situations that they were uncomfortable with. Once they got in a space, we would hear a lot of, oh, the youth services area is wonderful. We just didn't have the best parking lot experience. Or, lighting for things, various pieces where just safety and security was their number one concern. And so that was one of the 3 buckets. The second bucket of why people either had stopped using previously, so most of that was safety, made them stop using, or were not currently using. Had not chosen to start using the library. Public communication, as the communications coordinator person, I can say that I will have job security forever, because there is always going to be somebody that says, I never told them. I didn't know. No one came to my home and individually invited me to the thing. So public communication, it's nice to see it in writing, because then that helps me advocate and say, you know what, we do need to continue investing in marketing and different venues. And we got some good feedback by locations too, because the things that we heard of what people didn't know about Eagle River Branch were different than what people didn't know about at Mountain View. So I can work more closely with Stephanie. If her group is saying, well, we don't know about electronic resources, if I knew more about electronic resources, I would come more. We don't need Stephanie to talk about events if her people aren't seeing a gap there. So it was helpful in that regard. Sometimes it's nice to just have it in paper, what you think is generally a feeling. And then time is the one that I like the best. When we were looking at themes, because we had a work group that took all of this data and said, what big themes do we see? Time was our 3rd biggest one. And that manifested in a few different ways. One was literally not enough time to get here. People said, I am too busy in my day. I cannot drive to a building. And so maybe the hours don't work for me, or the distance doesn't work for me in the time that I have. Secondarily, I don't have time to consume the thing. Even if I could get to the library, I don't have time to sit and read a book. I don't have time to watch a movie, get to do that. I don't feel like I have the time to consume the content in my space. And then whether the things that we offer are of a higher value to somebody's other time. I have free time, but the books that you have too long of a wait, and I can just go buy the book from Barnes & Noble or from Amazon. I would love to read. I have time to read, but the time that it takes me to get it from the library is not conducive to me using it. So that can look very different for all kinds of different departments. For programmers, it's what time are you offering programs? Are you doing short programs? Is everything a 3-hour lecture? Or can you do something that is a drop-in where people can pop in for 15 minutes, enjoy the program, whatever that is, and then drop back out again? Looking at the types of materials that we buy. Sure, Sarah J. Moss, Writes for Distance. Bless, she had the book that is, this thick. Maybe we also want to make sure that we're doing some short stories, those pocket paperbacks, those things that are just more easily digestible. When I'm promoting things, do I promote audiobooks that you can listen to in an hour and a half? It's not an 8-hour audiobook that you were settling down in. There's still space for that. But we heard from those folks that time is something that they're really considering. So those were our 3 biggest buckets. Our hope is that over the next 3 years, we can look at either resurveying or surveying kind of with this data in mind and see where there's other holes that we could fill in. We do also plan to do some type of formalized data around our existing users, but that'll come later, probably more in like a year 2 or year 3, since they're already here. And we love that they're here. We just want more of them. So it feels very simple, but our hope is that we wanted to make it digestible to the public. If they're like, what is the library working on? Here are the highest points. We can certainly always provide additional detail on anybody. This group will see things coming from Margie over the next couple of years. And so if she's talking about a safety or wellness improvement, hopefully you think back and say, oh, that's right. That was an intentional plan that the library had. And this is why we're doing that. You can think of the budget already as something that we prioritized safety and security with our municipal budget request. When we were asked, what will the library do with our budget? We made a choice to prioritize safety and security versus other things that we would have liked to do. And then, of course, on the back, our mission, vision, and core services. Our mission has not changed, which is great. Your mission hopefully does not change. We are still committed to connecting people to education, information, and community. Our vision is also, I think, largely the same. We want the municipality of Anchorage to be an educated and connected community where our library is an essential center for learning, inspiration, and community pride for people of all ages, backgrounds, and cultures. And then our core services leadership team kind of look to see to make sure that, if everything else went away, if all of the fun, if we weren't able to do anything, if we just had to keep the doors open, similar to when we were in COVID times, what core services do we need to offer? And really the only change that we made there was just a small adjustment around internet connectivity and kind of making it a broader, we commit to having connectivity. What that looks like, that has a little bit more flexibility now. But for the most part, everything else stayed the same. What you would expect from a library. And so when we have to make those decisions of, we've got two amazing ideas, which one do we have the resources to implement? We're going to look to our mission, vision, and core services to help determine that. Because we would love to do everything for everybody. And when we get $1 billion, we will absolutely be able to do that. Walk fast, talk fast, present fast. Questions, things that jumped out to folks that you maybe want to know more about or just observations.
I think you covered it pretty well.
I think I need to fill for time because your next person may not be expecting to be there. Oh, I guess Margie's got her director's report.
We can shift, don't worry about it.
Right, I was like, so yeah, that's the plan. We are planning, we will have it printed and on our website as well, so the public can get it at any time, go back and refer to it. And we'll be providing probably regular updates about once a year to the public that like a written.
So I know we were pushing for and got community surveys to help guide this project. So and I know you don't have those memorized, but I'm wondering it's the 3 points that the community survey puts out that clearly they want more better of or something fixed. Did they also have an option of what improvements have been made, or were there what we really like at the library, or what we're seeing now we haven't seen before? It was
Not
like
in terms of,
Because they were non-users.
they were non-users. So
Yeah.
I think we went into the assumption that because they were non-users,
right.
they wouldn't have had that, prior knowledge. We got that feedback about like Libby and Hoopla. It came through.
That's interesting. Of course, yeah. I forgot.
It came through by just by nature of what people were saying, but they weren't asked for that information. And these buckets were not things that they identified. It was us looking at those 700 responses, and Hayes pulled out, some keywords and some quotes that they were like, oh, this is a representative. They told us like 56 people chose other, and other was time constraints, too busy.
Mm-hmm.
And so that led us to go, okay, if we look at that, if we look at some other things, time is a big bucket.
Mm-hmm. Right, we were focusing on non-users to bring them in.
Right, so based on what they said, if we were to, because I think one of the questions might have been if you knew that your library had, and it asked like 8 things, would you be more likely to come in? And so like, events for all ages, resources, audiobooks, and things like that.
Got it.
So we can hopefully extrapolate. If they said, oh, if I knew my library Mountain View had these things, I would be a user. So we will promote those things to Mountain View audio.
Good job. It's about 20 pages shorter than the last one.
I mean, from the public facing one, it is 8 pages shorter because they come in multiples of both. So I did tell Margie, I'm like, Margie, I am happy to include more information. You have to fill 4 pages because the staple goes in the middle. So.
That's right. This is technology. What do you think, folks? Part of our job is to be interested in and seek information about.
Ask probing questions.
And yeah.
But I don't have any probing questions to ask. That's a problem.
I'm sure if they come up, we will help do that. If the community looks and says, hey, what about? We're always happy to answer, hey, what about?
I'm extremely glad to hear about the staffing. I mean, that was rugged a couple of years ago. So
It was, and we're seeing good numbers of applicants for most positions, which is also nice. For a while there, it was hard to get folks to want to work for the city, but we, gave kudos to the administration who also across departments made sure that there was the support in there because we can't hire if HR doesn't have people to push the button for us.
Right.
And they're fully staffed again in labor relations.
Yes,
I'm fully
and
staffed, so
IT, we're like, hey, we need to set up a workstation and
Yeah. Yeah, it's a rosier picture than it has been.
Still lots of room to go
Oh,
because,
for sure.
at this point, I think the mayor put up publicly that it is a flat budget
Mhm.
and that doesn't mean that that doesn't do anything to help increase the number of staff that people actually need. So next steps.
but it feels much solider. The
Yes.
ground isn't shifting so much in that.
Yeah.
So
And we've got Archie.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Great staff.
Kind of following on to Christie's question about the non-users and how we build the people that are going to be using the library into the future. And as like I'm imagining the kids' story time is a big deal. So you've got those kids funneling up, hopefully becoming library users. And then the non-users, I heard you say things like, well, maybe if we can really advertise more and say, hey, we've got a little short detective novel that you can read in 2 hours instead of reading, 1,000-page War and Peace kind of thing. But those are mechanisms for, I mean, if we were looking at a strategic plan thinking for the next 5, 10, 20 years out, and who's going to be the people using the library, clearly I know a lot of my friends are like doing Hoopla all the time, and there's a whole lot of that going on. But
I think, part of that speaks to one of the other timepieces that I think it's written in here, but I didn't call out, is the folks who said at this stage in their life, they've become a lapsed user. So they had kids, they came to story time, they were here all the way to the time, kids moved on. The parents didn't keep that habit. So we grew them, we grew these kids, but it's almost like there's this disconnect of reading in libraries is for kids. Once I become an adult, I don't use the library until I have kids. And then I've had kids and I use the library and then my kids are gone and I don't anymore. And it's this truly strong super readers who are lifelong readers. I mean, obviously you guys are all lifelong readers. You've been reading since you were a kid all the way to adulthood. My parents are the same way. My dad always had a sci-fi paperback in his hand. He still has a sci-fi paperback in his hand. So we will be trying to find maybe those gaps because we're continuing to fill the funnel, but we need to figure out why is the funnel emptying out and trying to stop and keep those folks engaged. And then we know that birth rates are falling and we know that Anchorage is also continuing to have less kids. So how are we engaging adults and not relying on that story time funnel? As amazing as that story time funnel is, I mean, very, very popular, but the
churches
amount
are saying the same thing, by the way.
Yep, our summer reading program, Samantha's does a great job and continues with her percentage of children, but participation is dropping because the percentage is of a smaller group of children.
so what about the gap? Like I liked hearing the Loteria story because there's Spanish speakers that could become more engaged with the library, all the other Filipino communities and others that I think there's a lot of opportunities there. So I love the Loteria idea, but what about all the Russian and Ukrainian speakers? There's got to be some fun Russian game we can play.
Absolutely. They're a great way to bring people together anyway. Yeah.
And we've been working on our collection, unfortunately, those oftentimes when we're looking at collections for different languages, the books just don't exist. Spanish is great. There's tons. I mean, if you go to the world language section on the third floor, there's a full range of Spanish, both translated works, your, Twilight in Spanish. I'm just thinking as I just saw that one up there. To works that are written originally in Spanish by Spanish speakers. When we start getting to the smaller language groups, they're not smaller by population, but they just don't have the materials. But we are investing. We have one selector very specifically trying to build up that collection, and she takes recommendations. We ended up increasing our Polish section because we got a member of the Polish community that said, hey, could you, get these 8 books? They're actually really important, really great. And we said, sure, that's helpful. And then once that, kind of relationship is built, we can reach out. We're working with the Latino Book Club as a social media Instagram influencer. She helped inform the books that we highlighted for Hispanic Heritage Month on social media. And so as she's reaching out and sharing those to her community of followers, it's like, oh yeah, the library has something for you. And it's not us saying we have something for you. It's folks from the community saying the library has something for you. So definitely exploring more ways we can do that for sure.
Yeah, that just seems like a logical expansion if we're starting to lose some users, but we're a very, very diverse community.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other people out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It seems, it seems like the other thing that's going on here is that, before the internet and then our phones, we had to get more content somewhere, whether it was, you could watch TV, but that only went so far. There were only so many channels. Anyway, it just seems like there's just going to be more adults who don't feel like they need to seek out books or content or information. Even I'm sure that the library used to serve a lot of adults who weren't lifelong readers, who were getting music. And now with the streaming music services, that's something that just isn't bringing anybody here anymore. So anyway, that just may be the new.
It is the fight for content. The one thing that is heartening is seeing the shift, especially in our baby millennials and our elder Z's of going to analog and dropping screen time and dropping doom scrolling. As it's funny because it's counterintuitive. Bookstagram and Book Talk are literally here, but Bookstagram is pushing people to physical books, and they're trying to do more hard limits, and they've gamified things.
What are you talking about?
Bookstagram is the niche of Instagram. So there are bookstagrammers, and their whole existence. You laughed about Olivia's cat, but there's French Toast's Bookshelf is an amazing cat Instagrammer here in Anchorage, and the cat does all the book posts for their owner. And so it's a community of readers, and that's also who we're looking at, right? We have the stuff. But when we look at building community, how are we supporting our community of readers to engage with the library?
Interesting.
And so that can also notch them over.
Huh.
I'll
So
get you
there's
connected
this book club that's
Basically, it's a worldwide book club-ish. You connect over things. That's one of the groups visited our local author fair this Saturday, and a member posted, here's my haul. And she had picked 5 books that she had purchased from the local author showcase. And she shared it with her online book group of people she's probably never met.
There's kind of that idea that like the first person who has a message is maybe not listened to, but that second person you get to share that message, people listen to that person because they're sharing their experience of what you shared with them. So having influencers share what the library has, what events we have, that's more sometimes has more credibility almost than us being like, this is what we have. And people are like, so what? They're just like, this is what they have and this is how I used it. So I think there's a lot of value.
and you're used to listening to me about things.
Right. Exactly.
It's interesting.
Thanks, guys.
It's very hopeful. I had no idea. Anything else? For Misty Rose?
I'm just thinking this whole the timeline, right, of parenting, right? And you lose those parents when their kids are not coming to the library. One of the things that happens in early years of parenting is you also lose that time to be able to read or to even take 5 minutes to go grab your own book from the library, especially as much as I love the idea of a youth services floor, right? What is that going to do when all of a sudden parents, I mean, you're headed to a different floor, there's just all sorts of, so what does it look like to provide, like to not lose those parents? That's just one of the questions that I'm thinking through.
When
So-
you figure that out.
Yeah. What are those strategies to be able, and how, even holding on to a few of those throughout that. I mean, having parents who read is like such a critical thing for developing those lifelong readers. So, this is me from the prevention space. Prevention's a circle, right? So if we're like, how far upstream do we go, right? And if we go so far upstream that we're trying to keep those parents engaged so that they're continuing to read as their kids are getting older, then you're more likely to even keep those kids as lifelong readers. So.
Well, that's in our youth services newsletter. About a year ago, we have Bookworm Bonding, where it's a feature where we have a themed book collection. There are 5 books about dinosaurs for children. There are 5 books about dinosaurs for adults. Think Jurassic Park for the adult and What Do Dinosaurs Wear to Bed for children. That also links to a Scholastic article that says, you should model reading behavior for your kids if you want them to do that. And now that you're both reading something about dinosaurs, maybe you share that conversation. And so hopefully that keeps that parent, and the parent's like, oh, I'm reading Jurassic Park because we're talking about dinosaurs. Oh, I'm going to do that. I've now made my habit and continuing to build.
Also books that we could feature. I used to, without knowing it, really feature books that are fun for adults to read to children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Too.
My pictures.
I'm wondering how Kindle figures into this. I'm thinking too, your gesture was reading the book and
Kindles are a little bit of a hybrid. In terms of I would rather an adult be reading on a Kindle than on their phone. But also, if you're reading on your phone, you're saying it's family reading time, and you show that you're reading. At this point, we don't care how you consume the book, just consume the book. But yes, I did that.
yeah,
I also do this for telephone.
yeah, me too.
You don't do. Right? I do not. I do not.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
thank you.
much. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Oh. Right on time, in fact. Would you like to flip the?
Sure, we can do that.
All right. Greetings. Bridger?
Hi, how are you guys doing? Thank you
Hi,
for having me.
Yeah, we're doing very fine, and we just closed one area of the agenda, and it looks like you've appeared exactly when you said you would. So we read your letter at the last meeting, as you know, and as I mentioned my note to you, we had a lively discussion about it and thought that it would be useful to have you actually in the room. So would you like to sort of introduce your idea to us?
Yes, so I came up with the idea because I'm an avid reader myself. I mainly read off my laptop and my tablets. I'm hoping in the future when I get more money and stuff like that, I'm hoping to get physical books. But in the meantime, I'm limited to reading manga and graphic novels on my computer right now, just for cost saving measures. They're just cheaper that way. And I am basically just doing this on the weekend and when I have time, and I'd like to have a place other than my bed and my couch. But I also work from home. And I love I believe it's the Ann Stevens, the Ann Stevens room and the area around there. And I would love to see that room, that area in the room be made into an exclusive membership area where it would cater to basically academic types, writers, scholars, researchers, avid readers, and especially those who work from home. That would give them a place to work, read, do research, and write, and also network. I assume it would require them to get their own librarian, most likely, and there would be a tiered membership, catering to young professionals and professionals, probably around $60 for 21 to 39 for young professionals, and then professionals would probably be $99 to $120 a month, and then individuals will probably be a little bit more than that, actually. And then maybe like a corporate package for like the university, or a nonprofit package that would be monthly, that where employees would get to come in, kind of thing. That's what I'm thinking. But I also want to know what you guys thought too.
How would you enforce it?
NFC tags where, so I work for UAA, and we have these, if I can get, we have these UAA cards that everyone gets, and it gives us access to certain parts of the building that are locked down. People would effectively go and swipe the card or tap the card on the door, and it would unlock, and they would have access to the area.
I was wondering, hearing you describe it is useful. There are office places where folks who work at a distance from a regular office can go to do somewhat similar things for a charge. How would it be different doing it in the library?
I'm guessing it'd be cheaper because it would be a public space, and it would allow for more people to access it. Is my guess.
But you would charge for membership, or
Yeah, it would be charged for membership. My guess is like I said before, it'd be probably $60 for young professionals, $99 to $120 for professionals. Individuals probably $120 to $150 a month, and then prices ranging from a couple $100 a month to something around that amount for corporate and nonprofits, so they can just let their employees come in and out based upon the amount of people they have for their organization.
Were you proposing the Ann Stevens room or the area near there?
I propose the Ann Stevens room and the area around it.
So I wonder if there's maybe a middle ground or a different option, because Ann Stevens room is really popular as a public space that would be kind of hard to close that off to the public, but perhaps there's a different location or.
Yeah, the old
Possibly.
media.
Upstairs.
The old media room up on the fourth floor might be a place. Right now, it's not being used, right?
It's used for programming. So when youth services has large events, and it's probably in use 2 to 3 times a week, and then in the summer, every week
Okay.
or every other Saturday.
And what is the reason for the membership?
Basically to pay for access to the area, snacks, beverages, any renovations, extra help, 'cause I'm guessing it's going to require staffing. We'll have a librarian. I'm sure some of it could be covered via grants, but some is going to have to come from membership dues.
Currently, we have room rentals, which, one could reserve. Like currently, you can reserve the Ann Stevens room for a fee. in that capacity already, which would make it, I guess I was just trying with the membership versus coming in and renting a room, which is a process we currently have.
And maybe that would work actually, but I guess the issue is that how often does the Ann Stevens room how often is the Ann Stevens room booked?
It really isn't booked that often. Meaning that it seems like the availability would be there for those who might want it. And there would be a way to look at possibly the fee structure if we were looking at, I don't know, maybe more of an hourly thing versus how it's currently used. Because currently when it's reserved, it's mostly reserved for an event. But I mean, in the way you're thinking of it, it might be like a couple hours as opposed to an evening or something like that.
Honestly, I would probably use it on the weekends and probably because I take every other month I take 1 week off my job, so I'll probably go there a couple of times on my vacation. So I'll use it quite a bit. So I don't know if the hourly one would work for me and some individuals. So I also work from home, so I also might go there like twice a week.
Okay. But
So-
the Ann Stevens room and the event center are both available for reservations and the event center is like connected down the hall from the Ann Stevens room.
Yeah, and I was thinking that if done properly with renovations, those really good soundproof that they actually have one in the computer lab for taking meetings. They have a soundproof room they built actually. Having a few of those down there for folks to take meetings, and then having a few computer desks with some monitors, maybe a few Macs. And some stations for folks to plug their computer in would be great actually too.
It
I'm
sounds,
Oh,
it
go ahead.
sounds though, then, because most of these resources at the library are available to the public for free without paying a membership fee. And there's no guarantee that they'll be available at any given time. But given what was shared, it sounds like most of the time they would be available for free. So it's taking a resource that is free to the public most of the time and then reserving it for an exclusive group. And so I guess my concern is you initially said an inclusive membership space, but the membership space is taking what is otherwise inclusive public resources and then making them an exclusive resource, it seems.
Yeah, they would actually. I'm sure there'd be blackout dates for events if it needs to be excluded for bookings, but that's where I would see it though is that it'd be effectively like a premium library experience. You pay money to have basically a private librarian, private library experience.
And I'm just thinking off the top of my head, I know some libraries have book librarian, which would be free that you could sign up to reserve a time with a librarian who could help you with whatever it is you're interested in, whether it's a certain research topic or reader's advisory or how to use technology that you're not familiar with, that type of thing.
Yeah,
But
And I
that's
guess this
giving
one
it-
would
yeah.
be, and I guess this one, if it did get set up, would be more on the lines of they'd be coming from an academic background, most likely, and would be more specialized in research. Because I'm guessing this would mainly be, I guess, tuned toward that audience, I'm guessing.
Well, so what you're talking about is basically a fee-based exclusive use of the library resources. And then to what is, like she was saying, is usually a free resource. And to me, it just makes more sense to reserve a room when you want to reserve a room, rather than to try to set up a membership.
Yeah, I guess the reason I originally wrote this though is because I've been trying to find a club to attend, I guess, in Anchorage. That's around academics, and I haven't been able to find one, so I'm trying to make one.
Nice.
And I came to the conclusion if I can get one in the library, where I can effectively make it into a private club and stuff like that, because there was the Plutonium Club, whatever it is, didn't fit with my needs pretty much, and the audience wasn't really my tune. I'm looking for more of the academic type individuals and writers and readers, and I felt like this could really be something that could be done to rejuvenate the library, but also, I guess, pinpoint itself toward individuals like myself. I guess I was wrong though. And I guess I don't really know if there's the audience also.
Yeah, I think that's a fair question.
Actually, I suspect there are many people in this community who are writers and academics who are wanting to find each other. I mean, I think that it seems obvious to me that that's a social goal, a good one. And I'm thinking you work already for the university. Are there situations or groupings in the university that would pull people together that way?
There's some, but to be honest with you, it's not too much. They do some things where they go to a bar on campus, but outside of that, it's basically getting an email to come to some sort of event for speakers, and then you network with people. It's not really a thing where you get to really sit down with people and talk to them.
Mhm.
We're,
Say it again.
we're hosting a lecture series now that, I don't know, it could be an opportunity if you came to one of the lecture series to meet people, you know, because I would imagine that those who would be attending that program might have similar interests, because it is run by the University of Anchorage faculty. So
Okay.
I guess they're different topics, but so it might be a group of people interested in that topic, but they're probably going to be more academic types.
Yeah.
I would like that actually. Do you happen to know when the next one is? When the next one is?
It's tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow?
Yeah. There,
What's the topic?
tomorrow is Invisible Things in the Night Sky with Dr. Catherine Rollins. So neutrinos
Okay.
and other things. The one I'm looking forward to is in November. I feel like they're the third Thursday perhaps. It's on the homepage of our website. Second article on the center, I think. Next month is food from Tolkien and C.S. Lewis. So the cultural relevance, I'm super jazzed about. So these kind of just, and the one previous was the 250th anniversary of the American founding, something politically Americans, yeah. 250 years or something.
And conflicts that shaped the creation of the United States.
Yes, and then they're gonna take a break in December and then they'll be back and do January, February, March.
Okay, cool. Do you know what time actually?
6:30, I believe it's 6:30 to 7:30
In Wilderston.
in the Wildemarson
It's
Theater.
in the Wilderston.
My battery's running low.
I will look it up
I know.
though and see if I can attend for next month.
Do I need to go get one?
A little bit
Yeah,
too
there are-
late for tomorrow, but I can definitely try to attend next month.
That'd be great.
There are a great many. I mean, the library, that sounds like a wonderful series. There are also speaker series. I'm trying to think of where you would
Maybe.
find churches, for instance, hold, not necessarily religious, but they're sites for holding lecture series. I know of one that meets Friday nights about, current political events and things like that. So, but anyway, this sounds like a great idea to tip into what the library's offering. How long has this been going on for?
Sarah just relaunched it this year. So I remember going to one when I was in high school in the 90s. It was similar. And so I don't know, I'm sure it's been here since then, but yeah, she just brought it back. We've had the one, this will be the second one.
Cool.
There's another, I have a good friend who's a consortium librarian, and she hosts panel discussions with professors. So there's a number of avenues. She does really cool stuff.
Okay.
Richard, have you ever attended any of the humanities forums, community conversations?
I haven't, but I actually know the executive director. She's on the Governor's Council on Disability. And I have thought about attending some of the lectures. I just haven't had the time and I haven't looked them up. But I definitely want to. Along with
These
the
are
World
all-
Affairs.
Yeah,
Those are free, aren't they? Series?
most of them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Bridger, I don't know when the last time you were at LUSAC was. We've also added a new quiet space in addition to the Ann Stevens room. What was the old Teen Underground room on the 3rd floor, that glassed in panel is now an exclusive quiet space with designated tables and things. So we have another, what we would call a defensible quiet zone that is literally there's signs on the tables. If somebody's making noise, here's the number you can call or, text to email the librarian and they'll come in and shush it. So we have that as well as the pods, like a telephone booth style that a lot of people have been taking meetings or short classes or things like that from. So just for those other places you were looking to work out of, I feel like we have a fair amount of folks that are actually taking advantage of that as well.
Okay.
And those are drop-in, no reservation needed.
All right. Well, thank you. I will look more into that. If I wanted to go on the library's website, where would I find the schedule for those events?
On the library's website, the lecture series on the very homepage, there's an article dedicated to it. And also under the menu, there's a drop down where you can see all events for the whole calendar. It's a little different on mobile. The next 3-day events are always on the bottom, but if you go to the menu and you tap on events and then events for and all events, it'll give you the full calendar and you can sort by type of event, story time, lecture, science, or age group of event, adults, children, families, or location.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. I'm excited to attend that actually. And hopefully it works out really well. I am gonna see about attending next month and whatever else you guys have. Just a bit of a heads up is the not a heads up is the question is the is some of these available also via Zoom?
We unfortunately do not have the capacity to Zoom out of the Wilder-Marston Theater. That is a fairly consistent ask. And as we are doing upgrades, we're hoping maybe we can, we thought of today, like, oh, maybe some adaptive grants or something like that would help us. But unfortunately, there's not a great way to do it out of the Wilder-Marston Theater. think one of our book clubs, the mystery book club, does have a Teams functionality. So some of the smaller ones that like meet in this room will have a Teams option, but anything in the theater is not technologically
And
possible.
those other offerings are available through the website.
Yep, and the events
schedule.
and anything on the calendar it will often say it is online, the Teams link will be in there, or there's a registration to get the Teams link emailed to you if they're available.
Okay, awesome. I will look at I'm at the event thing right now, and I will look and see what I want and sign up for them. Thank you.
Super.
Thank you.
So you're welcome to stay on, Bridger. We have one more item on the agenda, and as a member of the public, you can stay on and listen if you like. But
Sure.
we'll sure call on you, Margie, for your director's report.
All right. Well, I think I'll highlight our new lecture series. Because yeah, so we kicked off in September, so yeah, we just talked about that. So that's exciting. So we'll obviously have some more. We also have a employment resource fairs that kicked off too, and so I guess we're gonna have some more. They're going. How was yours in Ibarra?
We have 3 people, but
That's
one
good.
person stayed for 2 hours, did their resume, practiced interviews, talked to every single one of our recruiters. So I would call it a positive.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, very good. How quality that quality.
Seriously.
Let's see, what else? And Mountain View had their 15th anniversary, birthday, I don't know, like birthday, I guess, what they're calling it. Yeah, so they've been there for 15 years. It was a huge success. And 117 people showed up. So I was there as well. We had cake and and movies, and it was lots of fun. Let's see, what else did we highlight? So last time we talked about the Muldoon Transit open house, and that was really successful, actually. Talked to a lot of people there, and so I'm getting a lot of input, and so they're still compiling the survey. They had a written survey you could take or online, and then they got input in person, kind of ask questions about how are you using the library now? How would you use the library? Like what would you like in it that maybe, or that it could offer that it isn't offering now? And so we got some good feedback. So we're moving forward with that.
Was there anything surprising?
Let's see. I would say surprising. I think for there, just physical access is really important to people to be able to safely walk to and from. So walkways was something that was mentioned quite a bit. Interesting in that people said that they used LUSAC for like reading physical newspapers, and not like the local news, but like the New York Times and things like that. And that that it's a larger book collection. So I go to LUSAC for that. And so, my question was, well, if Muldoon had a larger collection, would you use Muldoon? And most of them said yes, probably. Some said, I'd still probably go to LUSAC because it wouldn't be as large as they'd like it to be, So I think like collections and then also the ability to walk, read, and leave, like not necessarily check materials out was something that was interesting. So yeah. And then the downtown library, we're moving forward on too. We had our design kickoff on the 29th of September. And so we're in the design stage. So we asked for public input and we got a whole bunch of public input. And so now we're kind of incorporating that into the design. So one of the things that was requested, from the concept drawing was that we have more space for children's materials or children's activities. And so we're kind of trying to move things around to make it a little larger space. And another request was that there's more furniture. So we're actually looking at reducing the collection size. But we're also finding some space in some of the staff areas that we're trying to, in closets and storage, and like trying to condense things. And so the architects working with us to see if we can do some of that condensing to actually open it up more so that we can fit more furniture in there. So what else? On the budget, which you should have that sheet with you. Our summary. So this was kind of an update from the summary about a month ago. And so at this point, the administration has submitted their proposed budget and to the assembly, and we are happy. So kind of if you look down at the bottom, what you can do, that is what we're asking. I mean, we're appreciative. We, as Missy Rose said, we were all about staffing and security. And so we moved things around and we created a flat budget, but by moving things around to enable us to enhance security and increase staffing. We did that. And at this point, that is what has been proposed to the assembly. So we want to say, let's keep it that way.
So we're happy.
Yes, because, and I think Mr. Euros mentioned it as well, but there really isn't additional monies. And so everybody's kind of getting, for the most part, similar to what they had before. So nobody's really expanding services. So, so our hope is that we can keep it the way we've designed it so that if somebody does want to expand, they don't pull it away from. So we wanted to say thank you.
We're good players.
That's right.
This is semi unrelated, but it does mention reducing the digital collection budget. And I'm curious, Libby and certainly Libby had like a huge shift in the way that they manage polls and all of that sort of thing. And that was, I had nothing to do with you guys, right?
Correct, the change from suspension to the suspension.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I guess I'm just curious whether that what has been the impact on the requests and that sort of thing, if anything? Has it really not made a blip?
Oh, with the
I can
new
speak to it a little bit, Margie, if you like.
I'm sorry?
I can speak to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm curious about what
So
changes.
unfortunately, we did bad science over the last 30 days. So Libby made that change. At the same time, there was a previous technical blip that was allowing expired cards to access Libby,
Oh, wow.
even though their card was expired.
Okay.
That loophole closed on October 1st. And so we've been getting we tried to outreach as much as we could to folks, but we're getting calls of, my Libby doesn't work anymore. Yep, your card expired 2 years ago. Still live in the municipality, happy to reconnect you, happy to get you there. So we've noticed within that we were 2 weeks in now, we have dropped in number of Libby users, but it's bad science because we made that change. Libby did their suspension change.
Right.
So we have seen a decrease. The holds time hasn't necessarily moved quite yet, but we're hoping it's probably going to take us about 90 days of data to see what that actually looks like. And then keeping in mind that digital collection is not just Libby and Hoopla, it's any type of electronic resource, your free goals, your databases, all that kind of stuff too.
So the suspension thing, what did they change?
So Libby used to allow you to say deliver later. If my hold came up, hey, you've been waiting 6 months for the latest whatever. Do you want it now? And I would say, oh, please deliver in 15 days. And it would keep me in the queue at the top of the queue and then move me there. Now it automatically suspends me and moves me out of the queue until I come back on and tell it, please put me back on.
But does it put you back at the same position? Or does it put you at the bottom of the list?
I mean, it can't technically because multiple people who had been number 2 could all come back at once.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Tried.
And it depends
I
on if
didn't
it's one of
realize
those, 100 item checkout ones, or if it's a metered for a length of time. There's a lot of different qualifications. It's still better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have heard zero community feedback about the change in the function. So hopefully it seems to be working for folks.
I've been using Libby, which I don't usually, but I've been traveling and that's very handy to fill up the Kindle.
Yeah.
But I haven't noticed any change, so maybe a lot of people just haven't noticed.
Yeah, and I think I've just been trying to snag my books more and just making myself read them. I'm like, you know what?
Right.
Are you really gonna read it in 21 days? You're not. Just get it now and,
Yeah.
you know. Thank you, Atomic Noodle.
On the increased room rental revenue, is that like anticipate more rooms working to have more rentals, or is it a change in rates?
It's actually, we have been, I guess you could say, conservative in our revenue estimates. And so, we,
Tend to rent more than.
yeah, and so we
Okay.
say we're gonna, receive X amount, but we actually receive a lot more. And so this time we're just anticipating, yes, we're really gonna receive this amount. And so therefore, yeah.
Good.
A bunch of these guesswork can.
Yes, so it can work for us.
Right.
And why is the Anchorage Library Foundation grant decreasing? It seems there must be a reason.
Well, that is something that, as it goes to the foundation and then for like administrative things.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
From the library to the foundation.
So we kind of talked with the foundation about cutting some of that so that we can make some of this happen.
Yeah. Okay, that makes perfect sense. I had thought that it was your request to the library.
We'll still be. That's good. Anything else?
Are there persons to be heard?
No, not except us. Nobody stepped in except Bridger to address the board. So
I have one really quick thing. For those of us that expire in October, are we not allowed to come in November?
yeah,
Confirmed. Yeah.
we have been checking. Margie, you can share what you.
I'm sorry.
I understand that you requested to,
Yeah.
okay, yes, and so, it sounds like you have till February, that you'll be, what's the term?
It turned out.
Terminated?
The terms, it's a like a, not probationary, but it's like it's a granted extension for that term
Yes.
period. So you're still,
You're
valid.
perfectly fine, and they do have that just hasn't gone through the process yet, so.
So Wade, yes, Wade and, Wade, have you heard from, boards and commissions?
Yeah,
Okay, so you applied and have heard.
I just in an email said I'd like to be reinstated. And she said, okay. And that was the extent of it. I haven't seen any, official paperwork or anything.
So
What the municipal website has been updated to show his term extending to 2028.
Okay,
And it was on the agenda.
When's it extended to?
2028, it looks like.
Wow.
I believe it's a 3-year term.
I actually, oh, sorry. I actually had one more comment I wanted to make, actually. I was curious, so I know a while back you guys had MiFi devices.
what?
And what?
MiFi devices, like mobile hotspot devices.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a, oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, sorry.
Oh, there is a company called PCs for People that goes through Beacon or Bacon or something like that, and they can go and you guys can apply, I think, for up to like 10 of them, I think it is, and they're $15 a month. They run off of T-Mobile through partnership through GCI, and I found no issue with them at all. And if you pay like 3 years, I think it's like $10 a month. And I'd love to see you guys get them so that the homeless or people with low income could use them.
I made a note. I will forward it to Celia to look into for a.
Okay. Yeah, we'll look into it.
Cool. Yeah, I have one myself. They're actually really nice.
Great,
Cool.
great suggestion.
Thank you.
I'll just say, okay, I was saying Megan, Mark, you're welcome to be active members. And as you know, Manica decided that she retired basically from the board last time. Is there somebody else that?
Rachel.
It was Rachel. Who, and I was gonna ask her, we don't know if she applied or not, even, so I'm gonna pick up and see if she's still in the same kind of limbo land that you guys are, or whether she just didn't apply. So I'm unsure of that. Anything else for the good of the order? Right, well, with no objection then, we are adjourned at 7:06.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I put my badge on, literally.